Hey guys, Nate's Card Shop back with a YouTube video, and today we're gonna be showing off our tournament deck, as this was highly requested on my Instagram account. As well, it's about time I show you guys. And honestly, we took this to a tournament like a couple weeks ago and we lost. I think we got like 5th place, but only because we went extremely unprepared and it was kind of a last minute thing, and it was all the way in Ohio, and honestly all the locals that I had closed down, like the shops went out of business. But first off, we are playing 3 copies of our boss monster, Blue Eyes Chaos Max. Now, I like it because it can't be targeted, and our opponent really doesn't have a lot of ways of getting around this. Two, we are playing our Searcher, Manju of 1,000 Hands. Now, you can use Sonic Bird or Senju of 1,000 Hands if you don't have this, but this can search both ritual spells and ritual monsters. Next, in our main deck, of course, we are playing 3 copies of Impancation Pencil Plume. This is another searcher for our ritual spells, I believe, or ritual monsters in the graveyard. Pretty much cycling back a lot of cards. Next is playing 3 copies of Impancation Talismandra. More searchers. And for our Impancation engine, 3 copies of Candle. And I believe the next one, we are playing 3 copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon in our main deck. It's important for our ritual summons. Next, to round off the Impancation engine, playing 1 copy of Impancation Bookstone. And that is it for our Impancation engine. And lastly, for the monsters, we play 3 copies of Ash Blossom to round off our monster engine. Next, we play 2 copies of Mirror Force. This is good because we really don't require an extra deck for this deck, as you're mainly just going for your boss ritual monster, and you're going for game every single turn, and it's possible that you can OTK your opponent with this deck. You have so many OTK combos, it's not even funny, but it's not a complete OTK deck. Next, we play 2 copies of Melody of the Awakening Dragon. This is to search, discard 1 card and add your Blue Eyes and your Blue Eyes Chaos Max. Next, we are playing 3 copies of Chaos Form. This is your ritual, so you can bring out your boss monster. And next, we are playing 3 copies of Advanced Ritual Art. This is to dump your Blue Eyes from your deck to bring out your Chaos Max. Then we are playing 2 copies of Trade-In to discard one level 8 monster and draw 2 cards. This is to discard Blue Eyes, to dump it to the field for your ritual. And next. And lastly, for our main deck, we are playing. We were going to play Swords of Revealing Light, but this is to break off your combos and force your opponent's monsters into face down defense position so you can get Blue Eyes Chaos maxed out to the field. Force your opponent's monsters into defense position, go straight in for the kill 95% of the time. Well, a lot of the times. Next, we are playing 1 copy of Evenly Matched, 1 copy of Dark Ruler No More, 1 Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy traps. If your opponent has more monsters than you, Evenly Matched is great because that'll take care of your problem. Dark Ruler No More. If your opponent has strong effect monsters, Dark Ruler No More will negate effects of those, and you can pull off your combos without having to worry about your opponent, stalling and, pretty much going for turns and making them last. Pretty much, you're stalling opponents who have 40-minute turns because they're playing anti-meta stun or whatever. Deep Prism, if your opponent declares an attack, this is to get rid of your opponent's pesky monsters that may or may not be powerful enough to swing over the Blue Eyes Chaos Max. Most of the time, they are not. 1 copy of Twin Twister, also to destroy back row. Alright, so that pretty much is it for the main deck. And next, we are going into the side deck. Now, the side deck is not complete. This is why we probably only got 5th place instead of taking home the dub last week, because the side deck is not even complete yet. Now, it's going to be complete soon. We ordered a couple cards in the mail. So, they should be here soon. So, to start off the side deck, we are playing 2 copies of Nibiru, the Primal Being. If your opponent is special summon heavy, special summoning a lot of low-level monsters with low attack, you can pretty much get out Nibiru and have this 3k beach stick on your field, and they have a Primal Being token. Honestly, probably not with a lot of attack if you have someone playing like Perform Pals. Next, we are playing 2 copies of Denko Sekka. This is good if you're playing against anti-meta stun, because if they're trying to stun and get out those barrier statues, well, chances are you can swing over your barrier statues with this. And while you control no set spell or traps, neither player can set spells nor activate trap cards that are set on the field. So pretty much, once you get rid of those pesky barrier statues, you're pretty much into a Denko Sekka lockdown. Unless they have a monster that can swing over it. And if you're playing anti-meta stun, honestly, they probably don't, because most of their cards are weaker than 1700. Alright, next, we are playing 1 copy of Regeki, 2 copies of Dark Ruler No More, 1 copy of Majesty's Fiend, 1 Lava Golem, 1 Anti-Spell Fragrance, 1 Mystical Space Typhoon. Again, to destroy more back row. Anti-spell Fragrance for the traps, spells, well, spell cards, just so your opponent can't activate spells. Lava Golem. If your opponent's getting something annoying on the board, you can pretty much summon this and get rid of them. Cannot be special summoned. Neither player can activate monster effects. So if your opponent has something annoying, monster effects are a big one. Get Majesty's Fiend out. Contribute summon that pretty easily with the impancations, as they don't really need to be on the board after you get out your ritual monster. So having secondary boss monsters is not a bad idea. And for our final cards on the side deck, and we ordered a little bit more of these, so we are playing 1 Infinite Impermanence to take care of the effect monsters. Your opponent has something annoying, you're going to want to negate the effects. 1 Lightning Storm. This can either destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls, or all of their back row, if you control no face-up cards. And lastly, Triple Tactics Talent. So, if your opponent has activated a monster effect during your main phase, activate one of these effects. They're 1. Draw 2 cards. Take control of a monster your opponent controls until the end of the phase. So, if you want a ritual summon and use one of your opponent's monsters, you can do that with Triple Tactics. Or look at your opponent's hand, choose 1 card, shuffle it into the deck. So if your opponent has Ash Blossom, you don't want them to activate that. Then Triple Tactics Talent, just shuffle it back into their deck. And that is it for the tournament deck profile of our Blue Eyes Chaos Max engine.